Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Let's get down to business.
As we talk Mulan.
Specifically the 1998 version. All right, Dragon. So this is the first time, man. This is the first time that I've done it. I have cut the cord from the Disney remake trend, buddy. I've done it. I have voted with my wallet, my friend, and I've said $30. No, sir. No, sir. Dragon, honestly, the live action remakes have gone from kind of just a curiosity to, occasionally there's one or two that I actually really like. Your Pete's Dragon, your Mary Poppins Returns, which people for some reason insist is a remake, even though it's a sequel. But man, The Lion King was easily one of my least favorite movies of all time, Dragon. I'll go as far as to say that. It's easily one of the most painful in-theater viewing experiences I've ever had. So this, I was just like, no, I don't even want to put myself through it. So with that in mind, Dragon, we thought the best way to commemorate said movie is to talk about the actual movie that matters here, folks. To talk about, I mean, Dragon. I'm sure I don't know how familiar you are with the ridiculous changes that they've made to Mulan in the remake, but it's just batty, man. I mean, I have not seen the film. I don't intend to watch the film, even when it's on Disney Plus. I don't even think it's worth the time. But man, Dragon, I just the changes that they have made to Mulan through the remake, and this is the last time we'll touch on the remake because I want this podcast to be all about the '98 version. The changes that they make just make me appreciate this movie all the more, man. I mean, this movie might not be my favorite movie in the Disney canon by a long stretch, but just rolling right into my thesis, I think this is a very, very well constructed Disney movie with a lot to say, with a lot of a lot riding on its shoulders, and I think it pulls it off incredibly well. I think it's a smaller scale Disney movie, but in a good way. But at the same time, it's also kind of a war epic. So, it's got a small scale in terms of the characters and and the number of songs and everything. But it's got a big scale in terms of Dragon. I remember seeing the trailer for this movie in theaters and being absolutely blown away by the avalanche. Like, oh my God, that's in a 2D movie. I remember this is in the era where you could have really impressive looking 3D stuff in 2D movies. Of course, in the early '90s, it was we saw kind of the results of stuff like Thumbelina, where it didn't look too hot. It didn't look too hot, or Rockadoodle for that matter. But Dragon, with Mulan, I feel like it just kind of seamlessly blended those that CGI with the mountains when it absolutely needed to. But other than that, it's just a very I don't want to say modest, but I use the word in a complimentary tone. I like the fact that this movie doesn't try to be the biggest or the most epic or the most catchy song-filled Disney musical out there. It just aims to tell a compelling and nuanced story, and it really just hits it out of the park. I mean, I think it's an almost perfect Disney movie in terms of doing what it sets out to accomplish.
All right. So, my thesis on this, my general nostalgia is I love not just Mulan, but I love the latter half of the Disney Renaissance, not counting Pocahontas.
Very quick clarification there.
Very quick, okay? Because that's the thing. Just nope. Take Pocahontas out of the equation. I love the second half of the Disney Renaissance. But I think the big standouts, I think the best they ever turned out of that latter half, kind of after Lion King onward, between that and the end of the '90s. Mulan and Tarzan are always kind of my favorites of that bunch. They're tremendous. Now, each film, because think about it, in that line, you had each film had a different style and really pushed the envelope. In great part thanks to the Disney name and all the kind of the carte blanche they earned, especially in the first half of the Renaissance and the namesake. So they kind of earned a lot of real estate. Okay, let's do some interesting films here. Let's do very different things. I don't feel kind of the manufactured kind of Disney thing that we've kind of built up way back in the beginning. times, as it were. And Mulan was kind of when you look back on Wonder Woman, when we reflect on Wonder Woman, when we reflect on Mulan, here's what I'm getting at. When we reflect on Mulan, it was kind of the Wonder Woman of its time for Disney, in a sense, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And in terms of like again, this is a big stride. I mean, Beauty and the Beast it kind of expanded upon the waters that we kind of trickled in with Beauty
I would
and the
say
Beast.
both Beauty and the Beast and Jasmine both had like elements of like a really strong female character in there. And then Pocahontas almost tried to push it too much.
Exactly, and that's what I'm getting at. I think, well, again, more with Beauty and the Beast, again, you had the sort of like again a similar acorn of a story with Belle. She goes to she kind of trades her life for her father's life. But again, very different movie, and she is debatably the protagonist. But by the same purpose, though, again, it's Beauty and the Beast. I mean, I think a lot of people coming for more of the Beast than the Beauty. Let's be honest. I mean, they want to see what the heck this guy looks like and what that story is. Like, how did he turn into a beast? Why are all these objects talking? I gotta know these things, man. But yeah, that's the thing. I love that Mulan is kind of like really running with the idea and putting kind of the female character in charge of the film, and also we had this movie has a little bit of everything in a really great way. You got action, you got the Chinese culture, which as a kid, really kind of grabbed my attention. Like the I'll always cite the Big Bird Goes to China thing from when I was really young. That whole story. That's always always kind of a great exploration of what it was like over there, and of course kind of seeing it in animation was really cool.
Sure.
So, you had that. You had some comedy. You got a great scope as per the effects you were speaking of earlier. And again, for me, Mulan is always about the simplicity at the core of the core of the story. It's a girl saving her father, and I love that story. It's so powerful. It just hits the right notes. And biggest nostalgic tie you got to Mulan is that teaser. You remember the teaser, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Teaser of her with the stone dragon in the rain, basically making the big choice.
It's pretty epic,
like,
man. It really kind of sets the tone of like this is not going to be your average kind of like. I mean, it is a Disney musical with a comic relief sidekick. It is those things, but it takes itself a lot more seriously than we've ever seen something. I mean, barring Hunchback, I mean, this was a really interesting phase with this and Hunchback.
I know.
And then you've kind of got, weirdly, you've got Hercules kind of mixed, kind of stretched in the middle, which is just this, like, the most broad comedy that Disney's ever done, sort of like Emperor's New Groove. So,
they were building the direction. They were
interesting time.
Exactly. So yeah, the point being, just again, a lot of love for Mulan, how it turned out, and I always have a fun spot for it. And it was really fun going back to it versus everyone's like, "What about the live action one?" Like, no, we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about the one that counts, Mulan, '98, the year Deadpool came out, '98, buddy.
You're goddamn right. Good year.
Oh, sorry, no, I mean the issue 98. So I'm sorry, I meant Deadpool was New Beast 98. Anyway, sorry.
So Monkey's like joking about this, but I actually kind of like this idea. What do you think? SeaWorld Sesame Street area should add a Big Bird in China attraction to compete against Epcot's China film.
Well, I'd get behind it for sure.
That Sesame Street Land Dragon, you've seen my video on it. It's more impressive than it has a right to be.
It is. I have no compunction with that, certainly.
All right, so let's see, Dragon. Let's get into some backstory on this thing, some background.
Okay, so one of the coolest things about Mulan is, if I recall correctly, this was the Orlando studio cutting its teeth on its first feature.
Correct.
The Disney looking to do a film at the Orlando studio, which again I've if I recall it correctly, I could be absolutely wrong here. It's at the Art of Animation exhibit. Was that ever a functional studio, or was the
no, not the Art of Animation exhibit,
right.
But the functional studio part is what you'd go through on the tram tour.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you go inside the place, they have like a room that is a story room where someone's doing some animation, which is really cool. But that's what they had way back when. And point being, I always kind of created the misnomer of like, oh god, it's done all there. But it was obviously times changed before. If you really thought about it as a kid, like, oh wait, that can't match up. Anyway, but so Disney looking to do something at the Orlando studio. They were pitching two concepts: either a Scottish dragon film or essentially Mulan sans the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, when they were kind of pitching the film, they kind of interviewed a few prospective animators turned directors, turned prospective directors, and they were talking to Barry Cook about this. And Barry Cook had a really good note. He says, "Look, if I really like this Mulan movie, but you should if you put the dragon in Mulan, you should do that. So don't do the Scottish dragon, but Mulan should have a dragon in it." That kind of caught their eye. Like, yeah, why didn't we think of that? Yeah, let's do that, man. So we have Barry Cook and Tony Bancroft doing this film in the director's chairs. They take, as they tend to do at Disney in '94, they're taking a research trip to China, very appropriate, to get some really good ideas when they're at the Great Wall. Basically opening the movie, that's all per the research trip, the whole signal fire thing, which is awesome. And also another Wonder Woman connect by the whole signal fire idea. Little fun fact. Anyway. So Michael Eisner, he's I don't know if you know this. Michael Eisner's really pushing to turn he was kind of pulling like a Katzenberg on Toy Story on this film. Michael Eisner pushed the rom-com betrothal. He basically pushed Mulan.
I did not know that, and that's interesting because I feel like the rom-com elements are both some of the most awkward elements of the movie and also some of the most memorable.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mind. Well, here's the thing. Basically, Eisner, it sounds like he's pitching Mulan 2. That's the movie he wants. Which I like the comedy stuff we do in Act 2, but we'll get there. That's what I'm saying. So Eisner, he's pushing like the heavy, like kind of doing the betrothal sort of it as a rom-com, back in the day, China. Now, who saves the day here? You're probably wondering. I'm going to tell you who saves the day. One of your guys, Tiki. One of our guys. One of America's guys. Chris Sanders. Yeah. Chris Sanders saves the day. Chris Sanders is the one. He's kind of the head of story. He's kind of the main writer in the room. He's the one saying, "Oh, let's stick to the namesake novel idea. Let's stick to the Ballad of Hua Mulan. Let's stick to the father-daughter story angle instead of this. Like, let's not work on like a whole betrothal romantic kind. Let's not have her being set up with Shang. Let's save that for a sequel no one's going to care about." He didn't say that, but I'm inferring the future there. So a few other great ideas along the way. Roy Disney, he pitched Mushu. That was his baby.
Oh, nice.
And another animation legend, Joe Grant. Joe Grant, he pitched Cricky, the cricket.
Oh, okay, Dragon, I know we're trying to avoid the live action movie, but did you know that they replaced the cricket with like just a bland soldier character named Cricket?
Oh, that's stupid.
Dragon,
I'm already sick of it.
Dragon, I don't want to focus on that movie, but occasionally, just for comparison's sake, I'm going to pull out nuggets like that, all right? If you don't mind.
I do mind, but I can't stop you.
I won't dwell on it, but I do want to, just for comparison's sake, pull out a couple nuggets like that. All right.
Well, we knew with those nuggets, don't you?
Some Szechuan.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Some Szechuan sauce. Dragon, I am shocked that promotion did not happen.
Yeah, me too. I gotta be honest. But you know what's funny though? Again, they teased that Rick and Morty season 9, which technically they've been approved for, will have Rick get the Szechuan sauce. So we'll remember that, folks. Little nugget of information. He's supposed to. They said 9. They've been approved for 9. Okay, now we're getting back on.
All right, so we got Pink Pearl in the comments here. Nice to see you, Pink Pearl.
Hey!
Monkey's correcting me, Dragon. He says, I think DHS's animation attraction may have been a real studio. And
no, that's Monkey, what I mean. I'm talking about that, Monkey. Yeah,
Monkey, I guarantee you he's not talking about the Art of Animation Resort.
Oh, God, no. I'm not talking about the resort, no.
I would like to stay there one day. It looks like a nice place for a relatively decent price, but... anyways, yeah, Monkey, now correct me if I'm wrong, though, Monkey. You would go through it on the studio tour, though, right? I am so mystified by early Hollywood studios because, like, would the studio tour like end at the Art of Animation, Monkey? Is that what happened? Pink Pearl, believe me, you're like I haven't seen the live action Mulan, but I've studied it. If you know what I mean, like I've like I have read up on it, and believe me, you're not missing anything. And I
If anyone's
agree.
really curious, I think it's like to defeat their business model. I think it's coming in December to Disney Plus for gratis, which,
Yes, it is. Yes,
for
it
a
is. And
subscription, mind
even
you.
then, I
But
won't
yeah,
care. Even then,
I
I
know.
won't care.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that sticks. But yeah.
I mean, I have heard so many. It sounds both boring and offensive to the original. So,
Yep. Yep.
um,
We said the
but
same thing about
seriously,
Lion
why
King.
stay at
You
Art
had
of
there you went.
Animation when the hotel across the street has a giant big wheel? Monkey, I know
All
you
right.
don't care about food, but I've heard that the Art of Animation's food court is amazing. Like people make a trip out there specifically just for their food court. All right. Anyways, so
Anyway,
is that it for Background Dragon?
well, I had like 2 nuggets
I'm
left,
sorry.
if I may, real
Well, go
quick.
ahead and dip into the Szechuan sauce, Dragon.
Yes, I know. Thank you. Pass it over. Okay. Yeah, they used the full plane camera on this. So basically, they worked up for by this movie, they worked up a digital multi-plane camera. It's like
Oh,
a
okay,
new.
nice, nice. So I assume that's where the avalanche stuff comes into play.
Well, sure, but also,
Comes
I
into
mean, like a
play.
lot of the establishing shots mainly, but definitely came in handy during that. There's some really cool stuff about the avalanche scene we'll get to when we get to the
Okay.
avalanche itself. But also they had the CG army shots for said avalanche scene, which they've been perfecting since. If you look at Hunchback, I hate it when people really pushing on Hunchback. Because, I mean, they were getting there, but it's like, yeah, it doesn't look great. But you look at Mulan, though, it looks a lot better.
I think Hunchback still looks damn good for what
No,
they
it
were
does,
trying
it
to
does.
do
But
at the time.
when you push
I
in
mean,
on
when
the
you
crowds
compare it with
now,
other early CGI and animation from other studios, it's perfect.
yeah, sure. I'm just saying again, it looks great, but I'm saying in the day and age now where you can really push, and it's like, yeah, it's they were figuring it out though.
Yeah. All
Anyway,
right. So Pink Pearl confirms that Art of Animation has a great food court. She went there last time. Nice, Pink Pearl. It's definitely on my list of if I can ever afford to stay at a non All Stars Disney resort, I definitely love to stay there. All
okay.
right.
Also, all Asian cast with two exceptions for
Eddie
Mulan:
Murphy is one, of course.
Eddie Murphy and it's Eddie Murphy and Harvey Firestein.
Oh yeah, Harvey Firestein, of course, of course.
With two exceptions, fully Asian cast. Two Japanese people, two Japanese actors on it though. But again, the rest is Chinese. So
Hmm.
it's anyway. And also, I think I don't know if this is true, and it sounds like it is true. It's first DVD release for Disney.
Oh really? Huh.
I think there's like around the time where
Damn.
they were going off the.
Interesting.
I don't know if I'm sure it was at the time where they had the VHS and DVD, but still, it might have been the first DVD they put out within things. I believe that's true. Oh wait, Monkeys. Yeah, Monkeys right June for A too. I
Uh-huh.
guess it's okay. Point being, there are very selectively there are exceptions possibly. I want to say it's just three, but I could be.
Plus Donny Osmond.
Well, he's singing. That doesn't count.
All right, yeah, Monkey. At this point, we're kind
The
of
singing
nitpicking
doesn't
here.
count.
Are we
Anyway,
also going to talk? Are we also going to count? Oh God, whatever boy band from the '90s sang "True to Your Heart."
no.
Do you remember "True to Your Heart," Dragon?
Is that the one at the end of Lilo and Stitch?
No, no, no. It's the one at the end of Mulan.
Oh, sorry. Here's the thing. You know what's funny? Here's why I said that thing is because Lilo and Stitch, and I love how they make fun of it in the commentary. There's like this egregious thing where Lilo and Stitch, wonderful as it has a fantastic ending with the Elvis
Oh,
song.
it has a
And
terrible,
yes,
terrible. Yeah,
and
I know
Tiki, they make
exactly what
fun
you're
of it.
talking about.
You listen to the commentary, they talk so passive aggressively, but they compliment it. But you can sense like the sarcasm.
That's great. I need to
Like Chris
listen to the
Sanders like insult.
commentary.
It's so funny.
You know, Disney Plus, one thing you could put on your
Yeah,
service that would make me go nuts, commentaries on your movies.
I know they
You
have
got
a
them in
few,
your
but not
archives.
all. Why
You
not
got them
all?
in your
That's my question.
archives.
I know. Only a few. Why not all? You have them.
Yep.
Anyway. All right, so that's it for the background. So yeah, let's dive right into it. Let's basically, folks, we're gonna kind of talk about certain highlights and thematic stuff within the acts. Here, we're going to start with Act One, kind of the setup part of the movie.
All right. Really quick, really quick. Pink Pearl says, "I never stayed there, but I always stayed off site. But I love touring resorts. You can buy food there just touring. Yeah, and that kind of proves my point that people go from off property just to eat there. But Pink Pearl, believe me, I totally feel you on the off property thing. I am planning a trip right now where we're gonna have to stay off property, and yeah, it's kind of a drag, but hey, it's still Disney World, so Pink Pearl loves True to Your Heart. True to your heart. You gotta be true to your heart. Now,
Yeah,
Dragon. It's a cheesy boy band song, but I think I actually think it's good. Like
It's
a
a
good
lot
kind of
okay compared
cheesy.
to Lilo and Stitch song. It's a lot better. That's
I would
what
say on Tears, it's like obviously Proud of Your Boy is like fucking like S tier. but I would say True to Your Heart is like a solid B tier. And then I would say the Lilo and Stitch song is way at the bottom.
God, it was like the most hackneyed like Disney records I've ever heard. Just like why? Just why?
Yeah, it is. It is a blank
And
spot on that
because
film.
it's like the only blemish on that wonderful film,
Yeah.
really. When you look, it's like the only, and it's at the credits, so it's fine. It's just like literally we end on the perfect credit note with that little
Uh-huh.
stapled image, and then that. Anyway,
Yep.
you're probably wondering why
Yep.
we're talking Leo and Stitch. Well, and Chris Sanders is the connective tissue, so we're all good. Okay.
Right.
All right, so now to talk about things.
Okay, so let's get into the character of Mulan herself.
So portrayed by the wonderful Ming Na Wen, who I've had the pleasure of meeting, by the way. I love Ming Na Wen. She's great.
Dragon, I don't even want to get into it with the remake version of Mulan, but let's just say they strip out everything that makes her likable and replaces it with just Mary Sue-isms.
Hmm.
And it's just horrible. So to get into everything that makes her likable, I think specifically what makes her likable is the fact that she's imperfect. Like the fact that she's a real like fully fleshed out human being with like who's awkward and stumbles around but still wants to please her family, still has goals and aspirations, still kind of carries the weight of the world on her shoulders but tries to carry it with grace. Sometimes she doesn't carry it with grace. And you know what, Dragon, we get all that in the first 10 minutes.
That we do.
Economic storytelling.
I know, that's what I'm saying. This film is so wonderfully paced, I feel. I really, because again, it's not, like, it doesn't feel like anything's really, I mean, there's one scene that is debatable, but outside of that one scene, the majority of the thing just feels like it's like, not really, we're not wasting any time. It's like, it's all, at the very least, that one scene, while debatable, it's debatably funny to people. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll keep it because it's funny. Otherwise, it's like, hey, it's what it is. Anyway, so yeah, Ming Na Wen in this role, just the character as a whole, it's wonderful, very likable, and conveys such a relatability. I mean, big kind of mantra for the film was we're going to show a flawed character. We're not going to be afraid of flaws, which is it's about you can be flawed in life, but again, like Mulan, she keeps trying. She's as a
Again,
character.
something that the 2020 movie just absolutely spits in the face of.
I have no doubt. So that's the thing. I love like the vulnerability with her. Think about it is like she conveys like we convey the drama, the love, and the comedy, and that's what she does wonderfully. Because me knowing a lot of people know she can be really funny when she really wants to, and this movie proves it. During like the Act 2 stuff, she can be really funny, pretend to be a guy.
Sure.
So yeah, Mulan, very importantly, great role model. I thought it was another important thing they kind of put in the movie there. Like she's not just a fighter. She's clever and she learns. I think that's the best thing on the rewatch with Mulan. My God, she figures things out so well, and it has these wonderful payoffs when we get to the action later on. Like, yeah, she remembers like how those cannons work. She's like, what? Let's go for a bird in the hand. Bird in the hand, two in the bush, sort of thing. Like, let's go for that. Let's knock down the dominoes, as it were.
Just really quick, Pink Pearl. By all means, man, I feel you on the on 2020 being a sucky year. I mean, I don't want to sound cliche here, but it's
Empirical
tough.
fact: 2020 sucks this year, guys.
Yeah, it's tough for everyone, Pink Pearl. So at the very least, don't feel alone in that regard. And as far as my Disney trip goes, make no mistake, man. Like I'm gonna be lucky if the trip actually pans out. I mean, first of all, Lord knows I'm taking a risk just doing it to begin with, and we'll see what happens, 2 months from now if the situation's better or worse. If it's worse than it is right now, I don't know if I'll want to go. And right now we're trying to find a hotel that can actually like refund my money should something go wrong, and that's not easy to do. But rest assured, it's not set in stone. Anyways, I'm sorry, Draken. Go ahead.
But yeah, I love how kind of smart and clever she is. Now she's kind of learning throughout the course of the movie. She doesn't start off as like like the best soldier ever. I mean, she learns that she becomes the lead soldier and kind of the aspiration amongst the group. She kind of becomes the Steve Rogers of the gang by the end of it.
Absolutely.
I love how she's like the creed that her father kind of passes down to her that kind of impacts her character is that she's all about doing the right thing, which me, I love that in a character. She tries to honor her family, but she's very progressive in that she's the Fa family does not have sons. They do not have sons, which in the culture, it's another thing we should kind of broach here. It's Culturally, sons.
In other words, Dragon, my father has no son, so I'm not even going to finish that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm terrified where you're going with that, but anyway, so
He was a Hamilton. I was doing a Hamilton.
That's just anyway.
My father has no son, so I'm the one.
Okay, I get
I'm
it.
the one to.
Okay. Anyway, my point. So you know that show I keep telling you about, the Mark Ruffalo show. This much I know is true.
I did watch the pilot, Dragon. I don't know if I'll go beyond that, but
well, I'm saying if you go beyond that, there was an idea in that show in an episode that really struck me that I think very much applies to Mulan. I never thought of this before. Like, why is there so much value on just in a culture? I mean, beyond obviously that much I know to be true is not all about the Chinese culture, mind you, but it kind of breaches into the Italian culture a little bit, and it kind of goes way back in the olden days. And the point being, there's a lot of value placed on a son being born, and you're wondering why is that? And there's a rationale given there, which I never thought of. Is that how does a man become immortal, Tiki? His name gets passed down. And the only way you do that, traditionally through marriage, is women take the husband's name, or by the point that they take the name of somebody else. They take the son's name. If you have a son, your name will live on past your death. So that's why they want sons.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sort of thing I was thinking of on the rewatch.
Absolutely.
I thought it was really interesting because again, it's like women in this culture through the film, through the whole matchmaker, make me good. We have Harvey Fires. I keep thinking of the matchmaker gag from Mrs. Doubtfire. But anyway, no, with the matchmaker, we have this great thing where the expectation of the perfect woman is she's silent with in childbearing wife material. That's the idea. Like they're painted women with they're silent childbearing. Which Mulan is very apropos to. Like she just can't fit into that mold. She's very conversational. She speaks her mind. What she does. What she kind of types up later in the song. Yeah.
All right. Pink Pearl observes that Mulan was portrayed as a quirky farm girl that's awkward but still going through a lot to help her family. She tries and messes up but still enjoys it. Absolutely. Well said. Well said.
The cheating cliff notes just says everything you need to know about this character. Our noble character. She's cheating, but again, like she knew the stuff. She's prepared. It's a little helper. Because she's not cut out for this. She's doing it for the family. It's like in the relatability and the flaws you're seeing. Like she ain't the put together. She doesn't have it memorized. She's cramming for the test, man.
Let's see. Was not expecting a Dragon to reference Fiddler in 2020. Yeah, Big Pearl. By all means, give me the name of that hotel because I am looking for a good off-site one, and that one sounds accommodating. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
But yeah, I like that. The whole late bloomer thing, the whole the cherry blossom idea, and the whole she's.
Not anything I can relate to at all.
Sure, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. So she's a late bloomer that is she's a late bloomer, but actually she's ahead of her time. She's kind of a fast forward. She's a forward bloomer. Sure. She's a futuristic bloomer, and that makes her an outcast. So again, there's a lot of mournful layers to Mulan, certainly, which again was one thing to relish in. So. One of the great things about Mulan, the dilemma in question, the big choice, the choice in the ring, as it were.
Yeah, definitely just a huge dramatic moment, Dragon. I mean, I still think, as an adult, I don't know how I felt about it as a kid. I was like, oh man, this is a very serious moment, but I don't really think I understand the magnitude of what made it so serious, if you know what I mean. But as an adult, I genuinely do think it's one of the most hard-hitting scenes in any Disney movie because just the rain, the atmosphere, the literal reflection, and then the cutting off the hair, how impactful that is.
People love the cut. And I heard that was a huge thing with I heard they didn't put that in the movie. That's one thing I'm going to I heard they didn't put that in the movie, and that's a big sticking point. Because this is very important.
You want to know how they do it in the movie? It's literally No, she just kind of goes and stoically looks at her father's armor, kind of has a stoic look on her face, close up on her face, and then cut to her in the armor in the army camp. Just smash cut.
Now, if I'm right, she doesn't even have short hair in the movie. I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. They really just didn't get the point.
The remake's a hot mess, man.
All right, anyways, again, we're going to refocus here. So, again, I like all the stuff that builds up to this moment, too. Just thought about the reflections of it all, specifically as the song comes, when she comes back after the matchmaker disaster. Just oh god, it's really. By the
Reflections, I
way,
feel like, is one of the most relatable Disney songs ever. I mean, I think it's a Mount Rushmore Disney song, if I'm being completely honest with
it
you.
is really good. You know what's great about it too? It's not an "I Want" song. It's more of an "I don't know" song. And she again
Yeah, no,
speaking to the
that's a
floor.
good point. That's a good point. I mean, it's an I want song in a very, very like kind of philosophical sense of the
Sure,
word, and that like
yeah,
I
it's
want
more
to
like
know
"What
where
do
I
I want?"
belong.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's I mean, I feel like anyone who's an outcast in any sense of the word can relate to it. I feel like it's a huge song for the trans community, and I really respect that. But I mean, seriously, just anyone who's ever felt ostracized, it's such a relatable piece. And it's roughly like what, like 90 seconds long in the movie, and it conveys so much and is so memorable and so emotional.
yeah, encapsulates the theme of the film, which is flaws and the importance of self-acceptance. That's the big theme of the movie that the song absolutely perfectly does. And you know what's really cool about the song on a rewatch, the whole sequence, is that it foreshadows, the various different reflections looking back at her, which is like, her destiny essentially. Is every time she kind of like looks back and she's kind of reflecting, it's about her seeing someone else in the reflection, which is basically I see someone I don't recognize. That's the lyric in the
Mhm,
song essentially, and of course, we're foreshadowing, she's not going to recognize herself because she's going to be pinged
mhm,
later on, and also it's like she's going through a transformation to the point where she accepts herself, and therefore she again the growth of the reflection, that whole angle there. Of course, the image we have before us here again, just kind of perfect signifier of again kind of the split between kind of the expectation and who she is, and that whole nugget there. Um, my favorite element. I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
My favorite element of the movie, and my favorite element of kind of the big dilemma of it all, as I mentioned, as I alluded to earlier. My favorite element, I love Mulan and Fazu in their relationship so much. Mulan, her father, is such a touchstone for the film. I love Fazu so much. He's so reserved, like just pleading, please let my daughter succeed at the matchmaker.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah,
but he's
yeah.
like he's reserved, he's warm but selective. But again, like Chinese fathers back in the day, especially, they weren't really like effusive with their love. They loved and honored and respected their family, but they weren't like the huggy bunch. You know, it
Totally,
was
totally.
yeah. And the best, I think, the best moment, the sword drop. How great is the sword drop moment?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Where he just drops that sword. And he's just trying to he's trying to put on the armor. He's trying to like the mess with the sword, and he just drops it. And that sequence communicates so much without a word of dialogue spoken. Mulan's fears, like she knows her father's not coming back if he puts that armor on and he goes out. That clinches the choice, man. It's great. I mean, we set up the stakes. If she's found out, she's gonna die, man. Not just die, she's gonna be beheaded. That ain't good.
Okay, to answer Orange Crush's question about what's the next Disney live action remake, Orange Crush, I believe the next one on the pipeline is actually Cruella. Because that's got a solid release date of May 28th, 2021. And that is the Emma Stone Cruella DeVille prequel, which, I'm not totally stoked for, but I do like Emma Stone as an actress. And at the very least, it's not a straight up remake. You know what I mean? It's at least like a
In the
new
Maleficent
interpretation of
vein.
the source. Yeah, right. And I don't know if it's even possible to do what they did with Maleficent with Cruella DeVille, because how sympathetic can you make killing puppies, Dragon, really?
Do we know when Lilo and Stitch, the remake on Disney Plus, is coming out? Do we?
No, we do not. It's one of the many that's just kind of like in development right
That's
now.
what I'm saying. I wonder if that one. I guess they would have said they would have given it a year, especially if they had it in the can. So they probably don't.
Yeah,
So all
we
right,
do
never
not
mind.
know. And then also, very, very close in production is the Rob Marshall Little Mermaid movie.
Yes. Oh yeah, that one they've been talking. That one's probably
That
closer
one's
to even.
that one's pretty far along. I think we'll be seeing that one before a lot of the others.
Depending on when anything comes out, it's probably gonna be Cruella. It's gonna be a race between Cruella and Little Mermaid to get finished first. I'd
Of
assume.
course.
All right. Right. Okay. Anyway, so but again, the big crux of the movie again is defining honor on your own terms versus the status quo, which again is very much kind of what's motivating Mulan's choices. Well, I'm going to honor my family, even if they say it's like dishonorable. Like I gotta do the right thing as my father taught me to do. I'm going to do it on my own terms, which is why that big rain sequence culminates in her taking that armor and going off to save her father, man.
As in the immortal words of colorblind Kyle, for my family.
Yes.
Pulled that back.
Yeah.
All right.
One could say Gulliver would be proud of his boy.
Oh God. I'm like 18 months younger than Gulliver.
Well, you know what? Just stomp on all the whimsy. Just stomp on the whimsy with some golf cleats. Why don't you? Just
look. When I found out I was only 18 months younger than Gulliver, I got to admit I was kind of shocked. Anyways,
anyway.
Okay, so let's see. So should we get to Mushu?
Yes, so of course the other thing kind of gets set up in Act 1 is we bring Mushu to life. I live!
Dragon, I've been saying this for years. We need a Tiki Room style show with the Guardians.
That would be really fun.
Yep.
Because remember the other Guardians, the idea is they're just like stoned and kind of waiting in that room, like they're on their perches. So
it's literally a Tiki Room, Dragon.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
So Eddie Murphy, a lot of really funny, really cool design, a lot of fun.
I feel like Eddie Murphy is one of the more successful comic relief characters. I still don't necessarily think he's all that essential, but you know what? I mean, like if you take him out, looking at a certain movie that we're not supposed to be talking about, but if you take him out,
finding an excuse to.
If you take him out, then it just doesn't work as well. It just a part of the heart is just lost, and also just a part of kind of what makes it what gives the film its identity. And one of the things about Mushu that I think goes underappreciated is the fact that Mushu is a great reaction device.
He is. And again, there is a building relationship in parallel to Mulan I did appreciate. Where, yes, if you want to be all brass tacks about, do we need Mushu? Well, technically, no. I mean, all we need is someone to light the fuse for to create the avalanche scene. That's all I really need. But outside of that, that's the thing. We just need we need a lighter, essentially, before we need Mushu. If you want to be all brass tacks and all, take the whimsy out of life. But you know what? Again, there's something entertaining about him, but there's also just there is he starts off very this is Mulan is his meal ticket. Oh God, I've screwed up. I gotta save Mulan. Keep the family in order. So they welcome me back and maybe make me a guardian. That's my ticket back in because I've screwed up badly and I killed the Great Stone Dragon by accident. Which is again, there's a lot of Mushu's killed some people.
Right. One of the few Disney comic relief characters with.
He's got a body count of it. To be fair, he's got a body count of at least 2. And he did light the fuse for Shan Yu technically. So he's killed at least 3 people. I'm just saying he's got a body count.
He's more dangerous than he looks, folks.
He killed a guardian, he killed the bad guy, and he killed a member of the Fa family with that beheaded guy. Yeah, thanks a lot. So he's killed 3 people of varying degrees. But that's the thing. I mean, I like that, though. Again, it starts off in this meal ticket thing to eventually he befriends Mulan. Against the friendship's developing to ultimately where he becomes actually her guardian, where he realizes, yeah, we're kind of linked, man. We're kind of family in a sense. We really, we should band together. He admits, yeah, you're better than me by comparison, man. You're actually changing, and I did all this just for my own honor. Of course,
really quick, I definitely agree with Orange Crush. I don't like the idea of a live action Stitch at all. Stitch is I literally want to get a tattoo of Stitch on a very personal level. So I just the idea that a live action abortion of such a brilliant character design is going to exist kind of makes me sad. I will say though, Dragon, I heard a pitch for what the Lilo and Stitch movie could be, and that's kind of like a 20 years later type thing. And you know me, a good time jump.
God, it never ends with the time jump.
If we see Lilo in college and Nani in her 30s, trying to settle into adult life. Oh, come on, fuck you.
It's never gonna happen.
Fuck you.
I'm not saying I think it's a good idea. I'm telling you, it's never going to happen.
All right, fine, whatever.
This will never ever go for that.
Let a boy dream. I mean, if Disney didn't do the obvious thing and do The Incredibles, then yeah.
For pity, God. Look, you wanted to go Christopher Robin route. I respect that. Never gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. Well.
Anyway,
My respect for The Incredibles 2 is never going to happen.
look, I think the best we're going to hope for with this Lilo and Stitch movie in regards to how Stitch is going to look is maybe they go the Pokemon Detective Pikachu route.
Oh, I could see that. I could see
That's
that.
the best case
I still
scenario.
don't think that'd be great, but
But again, it's going to be on a TV, but that's the tricky part. But then again, One and Only Ivan looked great, so
yeah.
yeah. All
All
right.
right.
So back to Mushu here. So I love the subversion with the Stone Dragon though. The Aiden kind of Mushu arc of it all there. Where he too in parallel to Mulan, he's the screw up, he's the outsider of the family. Again, they're both kind of coming from the same family, the guardians of the family versus the actual family itself.
Sure.
And he's looking for respect in his own version of honor on his own terms, like we all do. We all, you have the warring family, all looking for respect in your own terms, that sort of thing. Again, there's a relatable element to this Mushu character as well. I like the guy. Even better, the reason you also need Mushu, the comedy duo of Mushu and Cricky.
Oh yeah. Which works out really well. It's just kind of like a classic sort of like silent comedy shtick with Cricky. And I think it works out a lot better than, like, let's say Flint and Nico, who were both silent characters, and you really didn't feel like either of them was that developed.
Right.
All right.
So also, any favorite Mushu gags you want to kind of work in there? Because I know what mine is.
What is yours?
I love the porridge gag so much. The breakfast where I love how motherly he is to Mulan. He said, "Wake up! It's porridge!" With the smiley face and the eggs and everything, and like this
A little bit of a predecessor to Eddie Murphy Breakfast Comedy Dragon.
Yeah, true. My favorite is like
I don't know what to tell you, folks. When Eddie Murphy talks about making breakfast, it's just inherently funny.
It is, but it's like when after he shoves the porridge in her mouth and there's like the fun banter, she leaves. He says, "Don't forget your sword. Baby's off to destroy people." And Cricky's like patting him like, "Oh," I was like, that's priceless to me. Like, oh my god.
You know what? I'm going to go with a favorite Mushu moment that's definitely not comedic, and that is his reaction to the burning village.
Oh man, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Like and that's what I'm talking about with Mushu being just like, on top of just being a good comic relief character, he's an excellent observatory character. He is kind of like the everyman who's kind of like taking in the scope of the war and taking in what it can do without kind of having the weight of the family on his shoulders.
Yeah, and also I like that he's like in regards to the kind of the tomes of the Disney sidekick. I love that he's measured. I think he's measured quite well in the reactionary capacity you're speaking to. Like he's a sidekick that he's in a story without distracting. I don't think he distracts too much from the story, and it's like a Deus Ex Machina meets a Greek chorus in a good way though. He's kind of the Greek chorus, and he's always around. But again, we're not overblowing him like the gargoyles. It's like it's just the right. I think it's just the right balance of Mushu, like just enough before he goes over the line. He's no genie, but he's not going over the line.
Sure.
And also, I didn't know this was a thing until recently. I didn't know like that this line caught on, like he's on shirts and everything. The whole dishonor on you, your whole family, on your cow. It is funny though. I'll admit. I mean, I is quite charming. Like, yeah, it would be kind of something cool. I'm like, dishonor on you, your cow.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Yes, now we're getting to Act Two, kind of the comedy, fake bridging from Mushu to the grander comedy of it all. The kind of the shenanigans of Act Two. The the slapsticky.
Well, of course, we have to address the bathing scene, Dragon, which is definitely the most awkward scene in the movie.
Yeah, that's the scene I was referring to earlier. It's like, do we need it? Well, I mean, it's depending on who you ask. I guess it's kind of funny, but again,
you know what? I think it serves a good point in which it's both comedic and it's ripe with tension. Yeah. So, like in that element, I think it works.
I don't mind. Let me be clear. I don't mind it because again, I think it aids in one of the things Act Two does really well with the whole kind of '80s. There's this movie called Just One of the Guys, which of course gets remade all the time whenever they do like the girl pretending to be the boy. It's very much modeled after Just One of the Guys. I know, that's what I'm saying. That's a literal remake of Just One of the Guys.
Oh, okay.
And that was like the '80s version of it, which I'm pretty sure they're pulling a lot from too, with the voice and the way it comes through, very much like that. Anyway, so and there's like scenes in there too, and I heard that I heard that they literally adapted a scene from that movie when they did the live action remake, which is really.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
The point is, we have some cross-dressing common. I feel the bathing scene is kind of an inevitability if they're going to do that. I feel they handled that scene. I think they pulled it off the best they could, and it works. I'm saying they could have gone a lot more south, and it didn't. Thank goodness.
Uh.
All right, so the Ping comedy as a whole, Ping, man.
Hear, hear.
Oh, boy,
Yeah,
so
I think Ping is just a good kind of alter ego for Mulan. But what do you think of the fact that Shang has kind of inadvertently become a bisexual icon?
yeah, a lot of people have really glommed onto that, and I guess I guess I get it. I always think it was just like, yeah, it was sort of like there is a moment in the movie You Can't Fight where he does find out the news and he's taken aback, like, wait, what? He says that shocked moment
Right.
from a distance when the doctor tells him, listen, General, there's something amiss here. From a distance. So it's always a little bit there for sure, and it did fall for it. But I always looked at it more so that Shang, he actually got to know in that time. He actually got to know a woman the way people would know a woman now, where you actually talk to her. You kind of have there's a growing respect and relationship, and that's kind of where that comes from. So I kind of
Sure,
look at it like that.
absolutely.
And he kind of through an unconventional way actually got to be very progressive. As basically the whole ensemble kind of becomes.
It's one of those like happy accidents, right, Dragon?
Yeah, it's a happy accident. I mean, good for that because I believe BD Wong is he's very approving of that sort of thing as well. So
totally,
I think it all worked out. I guess is what I'm saying. So people take that away from it. I mean, good for them. It's just people
I
go
feel
crazy
like all
with
of Howard Ashman stuff is like very, very obviously gay coded, which makes it very powerful. But this is kind of like, it's kind of like a fun little like,
it's a happy accident.
it wasn't intentional, but it kind of got the ball rolling on, bisexuality and the kind of social approval of it.
The other thing too is to mention with the bath scene too is real quick is I love think about how remarkably edgy that is for the time for Disney. Like they did a scene like that in a kids movie. So some other stuff with the comedy too. I love that they did look to a lot of Chaplin for inspiration. Because think about the matchmaker scene, for example. It's always Chaplin going up against the big authority figures, and also the scene at the camp where it's Ping trying not to get beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of slapsticky comedy and meeting the guys, all that sort of stuff. Very good physical comedy with.
It's also just good, not even counting like the the cross-dressing comedy of it all. It's just a good army buddies comedy.
Yeah. I mean, again, I love like kind of the Abbott Costello kind of going like the old sorts of kind of like the '40s kind of comedy stuff where it's like Abbott Costello joined the army or any like buck privates of it all, that sort of thing.
And I don't think that the side character army buddies in this movie, as a matter of fact, I kind of think they might be the weak link of the movie just because there's not really that much to them. But God knows they have way more personality than anything going on in the film that shall not be named.
Right, which yet we keep mentioning, which is defeating the point of my
for comparison's sake.
Yeah, which again is why we were talking anyway. Okay, the point being, I really like those guys actually. I really like the trio.
I like them too. I'm just saying the rest of the movie hits such a perfect note that I feel like they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them.
I like the growth. Like, again, they start off as like, oh god, they broke out into a fight. They became the best of buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like it's like Thor with the Warriors 3, or Lady Sif with the Warriors 3. It's kind of ended up being that sort of dynamic there, which is kind of nice. Let's see. Also, again, Ming-Na Wen with like the just one of the guys comedy here is the whole like I'm Fazu's son. He doesn't talk about me much. He's like, no wonder he's Speaking of which, the wonderful James Hong, who he's been in God knows how many movies. James Hong, he plays Chifu, kind of the advisor guy.
Oh man, I forgot about Chifu. Oh man, he's a little rat, isn't he?
He's
this
Weasley advisor to the Emperor's Council. It's just, and again, also that he's there for when you really look at the movie on a rewatch, when you reflect on the movie. He's really there to kind of mock the gender stereotyping of the past. That's kind of why he's there. Is that he's the one who says like restrain your daughter. Who cares what this woman says back when she's sticking up for her father. And the point is this guy's all wrong. He's very effeminate. He's very much again Chifu saying no, this is the way we have to kill the woman. Versus Mulan being very progressive. It's quite quite
sure.
So Li Shang himself, but you already mentioned, the BD Wong, of course, wonderful debut.
I mean, just even outside of like the the unintentional bisexual coding, I think Shang is an awesome character, man. I really do. I think Shang is the example of a love interest done fucking right, dude. Because you just like this character, man.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he's trying to do good by his father, and that he's kind of living in his father's shadow.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I'll make a man out of you. I mean, goddamn, we'll get there. Talk about an iconic song. Talk about an iconic Disney moment. I don't know. There's just something about him. He radiates chemistry.
He does. I mean, I don't know. It's like hard to explain. B.D. Wong just in the earnest way that he played this character. He's played him again. The realism and the grounded quality of this film, where again, it's just people who are flawed and they have their own issues going. They're all kind of unified by either being an outsider and someone. Again, they're all motivated by honor. Honor is kind of the unifying factor of all these characters. Like again, Mushu trying to dictate his own honor. He's trying to earn honor. Mulan trying to honor her family, and as well as Li Shang trying to kind of get kind of continue the military lineage and honor his father, General Li. And I love that he just becomes so well rounded because he's just so earnest, and he's training the new recruits, and he kind of befriends them. He kind of, it all works. It's like he's the version of Ping actualized that is inspiring the other Ping.
And then there's that sequel that is also a film that shall not be named.
Yeah, that. I'm sure Eisner loved that movie, but
it's unfortunate, Dragon. It's unfortunate. Oh man, I have not watched it, but I've heard it's character assassination.
So, trust me, it's not pretty.
Oh boy. Oh god.
Anyway, it really is, especially if you even liked Mushu, you're really not.
Oh boy! All right.
So the Arrow
could all be yours on Disney Plus.
D plus, or sometimes D minus.
Dragon, I have kind of a funny little side antidote for Disney Plus. It'll take like 2 seconds. Okay.
Go on.
So I got an email from Disney Plus that says dare you not to browse. And I'm just like, Disney Plus, what are you doing? Like, you've got my money. You've got my money from now until the end of time. Like, as long as your streaming service exists, I will never not pay the $7 a month for it. So why are you trying to come on too hard to me, Disney Plus? All right, anyways.
All right, let's see. All right, the arrow retrieval.
Yes.
I love the arrow retrieval so much.
Is this kind of transitioning into I'll Make a Man Out of You?
Yeah, sure. I figure we'll use this and we'll springboard into the song.
Okay, the arrow retrieval itself is just, I mean, goddamn, it's a fucking fantastic bit of motivational filmmaking.
Absolutely, and again, I love my favorite thing. Again, the metaphor of it all. Where he shoots Yao's like tough talking to him, says yeah, and of course he almost takes aim at him. It looks like they're all like stepping back. Okay, this guy's doomed. Or no, they shoot it at the tall tower and the tall wood post, and he's you got to climb it to get the arrow, and of course you have to climb it with weights. And these weights represent discipline and strength. Mm-hmm. So clever. I loved it. And of course, definitely pays off in how they kind of scale the thing later in Act 3. It all pays off. And of course, Mulan kind of championing, kind of Ping, kind of inspiring everybody and mastering the discipline and strength. And again, using her mind. And again, there's kind of a big message there of, again, sometimes there's been a debate throughout time about the whole, the men versus woman of it all. And of course, sometimes you'll have the debate being, scientifically, women, they're not as strong as men. It's not an insult. It's just
bullshit.
Well, here's what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that that even if that is true, even if it is, Mulan, she smartly did something where again, women will. It's like almost the Jurassic Park thing. Nature will find a way. You're going to find a way. Okay, even the evolution things. Women will find a better way to do it than men, even if they have their own way of doing it. It's kind of interesting. It's like they'll measure up in some unexpected way, which Mulan did here, which is great. You either look at it that way, or she just became really strong and she was kind of doing all those times. Either way works, but that's my point.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, the song itself, Dragon, I mean...
Donny Osmond!
Dragon, I mean, this song almost has a cult-like following to it.
It does.
Count me in as part of the cult, my friend.
I showed you that Deadpool parody, right?
Yes, you have.
Good.
I mean, I love this song so much. I think it's one of the absolute most catchy songs ever goddamn written from a Disney perspective. Not only that, though, Dragon. I mean, the song itself is just so good and such an earworm and so classic. But Dragon, that montage is just where it's at. I mean, it's just as good as any Rocky montage. Like you could literally like put footage of this montage in with a Rocky montage, and it wouldn't feel out of place.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it so much from so many different levels. I think it's easily the highlight of the film. I think it's easily the thing that the film is most going to be remembered for good reason. Um, God, Drake, can I do a little fun fact on the Disney sing-alongs brand really quick?
Okay.
Okay, so Disney sing-alongs, every time a Disney musical was released in the '90s, they come out with a with a different sing-along video with said Disney song as you used to hate I'll Make a Man Out of You. Well, I'm glad you don't hate it anymore, monkey. So anyways, so they'd
I'm so
always come
glad you're
out
focused on your point right now, but go on.
So they always come out with these Disney VHSs that had like these sing along songs. It'd just be kind of compilations. But they'd be like one big song from the new movie that would be the box art. Dragon, guess which song they chose from Mulan?
What song?
Frickin' Honor to Us All.
Oh, they use like not folks. This isn't necessarily a bad song, but of the songs most forgettable, like the one like the least catchy of the songs. It's good, but
Dragon,
it's least catchy.
isn't that a weird choice?
It is. They use the Matchmaker song.
Yeah, they used honor to it. Like, especially when you have. I mean, I kind of get why you don't have reflections because because sing alongs is a very little kid line of VHSs, but for God's sakes, I'll make a man out of you. It's like the ultimate Disney sing along, Dragon. Like, even now, like, a whole generation of grown ass people cannot hear the words, let's get down to business without repeating with to defeat the Huns, Dragon. A whole generation of people has grown up with that. All right. Anything else about the
Right.
song?
So, but yeah, I mean, again, the song also has it's just a great edited montage, and again, it shows the growth of character development. We have some really cool stuff in the training of the army that pays off later, like the bow staff. I love the bit where like Yao is like it's just a little bit. Yeah, I was like tripping up Ping, and then he hands him the staff, which is really a nice. Oh, that's nice. They become buddies. Isn't that cute? So, like the bow staffs, the arrows, the fish strike, the bounce in the water, and the idea is like Ping is getting so demoralized here. She again can't cut, and again that's the whole message of the whole like the women versus men thing, and of course measuring up in some way, which is really cool, and again inspires the whole bunch. And little do they know how actually inspiring it really is. And again, it's like they're all the Emperor way in the beginning of the movie. Of course, the Emperor voiced by the wonderful Pat Morita. Got to mention that too. So the ultimate teacher, one could say. The Emperor of China, he had this great line that introduced Mulan, where it's like a single grain of rice can tip a scale, as in one man can be the difference between victory and defeat. And of course, I think that's what Make a Man Out of You is all about, the one man that is inspiring the bunch that will kind of make them stronger as a unit and basically will save the Emperor's life. In the end, I love that the Emperor said that and ended up saving his bacon. I thought that was great.
Huh. Right.
So, Avalanche! No, let's talk about the Avalanche scene.
Are we going to talk about the big moment too, or are we going to tiptoe or what?
Do you mean like the gender reveal party as it all?
No, the gender reveal party. The girl we're fighting for moment.
Oh yeah. Let's absolutely yes. Let's start off with that. Sure, yeah.
Because I feel like that is another just absolutely pivotal part of the movie that everyone fucking remembers.
Movie's only got 4 songs, but they all assist the story. None of them are wasted. Again, they cut out an unnecessary song of Mushu, which is really a relief.
Dragon. Excuse me. It's got 5 songs. 5 songs, buddy.
Okay, come on, don't.
True to your heart. You've got to be true to your heart.
Just answer me this: was that even written for this movie?
I think it was.
Are you sure? Because that sounds remarkable. Like it was like a coincidence they used it. I don't know if
I'm
that was.
pretty sure it was written for the movie.
I'll take your word for it. Fine, 5 songs. All right, fine.
All right.
5 songs in quotes.
True to your heart.
Oh,
All
God.
right. Oh God.
Anyway, so yes, A Girl Worth
Because
Fighting
98
For again.
Degrees is the artist, by the way.
Right, well, there you go. So, but yes, God, what's the name of the song? See, you got me all distracted with all the stupid.
The song is "A Girl We're Fighting For."
Yes, A Girl Worth Fighting
Yeah.
For, which is quite it's quite great. Again, with that ending is just so, it always strikes me, man. I know everyone goes to make a man out of you, and I still love it. And I get it, and I'm all for that. But still, to me, that's the most effective one of the most effective parts of the movie. There's that whole like a girl we're fighting, and they're all just shocked and ashen. Like, oh, this jovial Disney song abruptly stopped. Like horrible realities of war.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, the moment where Mulan picks up the doll of the little girl and kind of hits home, like, oh man, like this is what we're fighting for.
It's a good moment. Now, if I can backpedal here, because the doll is a very significant part of the film. Let's talk about our villain of the piece, the Huns. You know, the guys were singing all about the feet. Let's talk about him a little bit. So,
I think Shen Yu is a very underrated villain, and what I like
Yes.
about him is how cold and ruthless he is.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't care what anyone says. Miguel Forever as Shan Yu is cool, man. He's just really cool and he's menacing. We build him up. He leads this very intimidating army, both big and small. Even when it's reduced to 5 guys, he leads it very effectively.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, what I like about him is that he's not the traditional Disney villain who's like over the top and flamboyant and has a Disney villain song. No, he's very different from that. He's very real world evil.
He's my kind of Disney villain, man. I love
Uh-huh.
Shan Yu. So also the doll bit was also one of my favorite bits with Shan Yu. He's got two really great bits with Shan Yu. Where one he the hawk brings him the doll, and his men he's trained his men so well. Again, it's kind of the anti Li Shang. He's trained his men so well. They're looking at the doll, and they're calculating like where the village came from, how far it is, and they're like all these little pieces that made the doll and where it's from. Like genius trackers. I mean, that's fantastic. Of course, he's that really creepy. The girl will be missing her doll. Let's return it to her. It's like, oh god, it's so creepy.
Oh god.
Like, oh god, and of course knowing what happens and presumably, oh god, she's probably dead and it's all terrible. It's so scary. And it killed Li Shang's father too. I mean, this guy's it's a monster. And why are his eyes like the Joker in New Adventures, man? It's scary.
Oh god. All right.
Did the reverse pupil thing. But yeah, also my favorite almost kingpin-y bit with the guy in a sense is I love the Great Wall. I love the whole motivation of why he's doing it.
Fantastic opening, man. It's a fantastic opening.
But again, he has like the perfect line, the perfect introductory line. Well, he says after they light the signal fire and everything, he'll never now they know you're coming. He invited me. He built this wall as a challenge to me. As like an invitation, as a challenge to my strength, he built the Great Wall. How fantastic of an introduction to your bad guy is that? Like, he built the Great Wall, and I took that as a challenge.
People never talk about that, man. People never talk about how badass of an introduction this guy has. It
bothers me because it's such a great intro, and that's why he's doing all this, because he felt insulted. And again, he's going after the power of the Emperor, and the Great Wall was like the biggest challenge. Like, okay, I got to do this now, man. That's great.
All right. Just really quick, I whole fucking heartedly agree with Monkey on this point. Help me not to make a fool of me sounds like what you'd come up with when you fail to remember the lyrics. Yeah, I mean that's one of the many reasons why I'm just utterly baffled that Disney decided to go with "You'll Bring Honor to Us All" as the sing-along song.
I don't get it.
Anyways, the massacre reveal party.
Right. Anyway, so speaking of the mountain fight itself, so the avalanche of it all. So
yeah, I mean, you were talking about the avalanche in terms of like the multiplane of it all, and it's just super effective. Dragon, it pulls you in. The scale just looks huge, and it holds up today.
Let me tell you what's really cool about this. Not only did they use the multiplane, but you know what they did? Dean Dubois, of course, the other half of Lilo and Stitch, who again presumably he met Chris Sanders on this film. They were in like the story department and such. Anyway, so Dean Dubois. he built a model of this mountain, of this whole set, like a physical model that that they kind of that basically block out the whole sequence and what happens in the scene.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so again, it's a great sequence. Basically, again, Mulan again making the smart choice here. Again, awfully bloody for this movie when you really think about it. Like we killed like a whole army of bad guys with an avalanche, but it's awesome, and she did it with like one shot from that cannon. I just love. It always jazzed me as a kid just seeing Mulan grab that cannon, running out into the middle of like this whole entire army charging at it. Such a brave move. And like again the tension, man, like lightning, and then using Mushu last second, of course. Like, how do you miss? It was right in front of you, of course. Not what she was aiming for. She's aiming for the mountain. Just a great visual. I love seeing her thought process visualized like that. It's great.
Sure.
And sequence gets any better with like the rope comedy with the trio, like the whole like they slipped right through my fingers, and of course like they're saving them. That's good stuff. The sea of snow. It's just amazingly cool sequence, and then like the big almost phantasmy blood moment where like, oh god, she's wounded. No, blood in a Disney movie. How did it get this far? What? Which leads to the logical discovery, of course, the doctor's going to attend to her. As a kid, you never thought of it. It's like, oh yeah, I never. The doctor's going to poke around there, and oh my god, there's something to miss here. Li Shang, we should talk about this.
God.
Someone didn't do their army physical duties. I can guarantee that.
Oh boy.
That leads to the low of lows, where of course it is found out Mulan. Ping, not a ping. Ping is Mulan. And and Shang again. I love the connection there, where he earns so much credibility, so much respect, and trust in Ping, and of course, life for a life, man. It's a great moment. He chooses to do what's right versus what his duty is. He doesn't kill her, doesn't behead her. And how great is it that the gang is all terrified? They want to stop this, but like, no, it's the law. We got to behead this woman. Yeah.
No, I mean, I really like how it's like, yeah, it's kind of terrifying, but it gets turned around really fast, but in a good way, and just the way that like, like right away they kind of just acknowledge like, no, screw this noise. Like we're standing behind this person.
Yep. I love the intimate aftermath with Mushu. How great and tender a scene is that, Tiki?
Oh God, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about with like how Mushu is just very well played in terms of like he has his broad comic moments, but he also has just his quiet moments too.
This is why Eddie Murphy's the man. Not only is he just kind of the funny guy, but when he brings the heart, he really brings the heart. Just like polishing the helmet in terms of the reflection angle. Anyway, but seriously, like when he's like spit polishing the helmet, it's like, oh no, like you basically, I don't even recognize that. Well, of course you recognize it. That was such a charming bit to me. I was like, oh my god, it's so nice, and the whole reflection theme of the piece, they kind of bounds the two of them together. And he admits, they're both flawed and everything, and she's better by comparison. Basically, they're in this together for better or worse, which of course then leads to, oh my god, forget our emotional arc right now. Nothing against that. I'm just saying, like, oh my god, the bad guys are still alive, and they're gonna go for the Emperor. It's great. Again, I love that 3-act structure. I love to go from kind of the drama of it all to the comedy to the action for Act 3, which brings us to
Oh yeah. Woo. Okay, so Act 3. Of course, we just have the big plan to save the Emperor, which is just just a good kind of like, I don't want to say understated. I don't think understated is the right word, but it's definitely a little bit more intimate than the big end of Act 2 battle sequence, but I feel like in a good way. It makes things more personal, you know what I mean? It's not this epic battle. It's more of just like, okay, like we have to it's up to us. We're on the front lines now. We're the main defense.
Absolutely. And again, I love it's very direct. I don't know, maybe small is not the right, but it's very direct. It's very focused. And the thing about this, the bad guys, all they needed was a paper dragon to get the Emperor. They hid in a paper dragon. Like them going down the street in the parade, like, hey, we've returned.
Much Trojan horsed it.
I know they did the paper dragon Trojan horse, which is brilliant. Again, smart moves. That's what's cool about our bad guy yet again. But this climax of, again, I love these turns here. Okay, the gang, Yao Ling and Chenpo, they instantly believe and listen to Mulan, which is like, she says, we're not getting in this way. She's got a plan. She's had great plans. He took out all those Huns with an avalanche. I'm going to follow this lady. So they kind of get them board for the whole painted ladies, their own Trojan horse, so the painted ladies can get up there and take out the guards and kind of get in there and save the emperor. It's a good plan.
Harvey Firestein in drag, folks.
Yeah, it works. And it brought us Mrs. Doubtfire, but nothing past this man.
Right.
So yes, yeah. Again, they're using their train to climb the pillars. It all comes back. Stories. That's the best movies. It all comes back. You don't waste a frame. It's always great when you can recycle the frames.
Absolutely, that was one of the best things about Onward as well.
Mm-hmm. Again, we use, to quote Brad Bird, we use every part of the buffalo.
Oh yeah.
Also, Pat Morita again as the Emperor. Again, watching Cobra Kai makes you miss Pat Morita even more. So
do you know who the Emperor is in said film?
In this movie?
No, in said film.
Oh no, I don't. Oh wait. It's not Jet Li, is it?
Yes, it's Jet Li. Isn't that weird?
Right.
Isn't that weird?
That feels like why? Like, I mean, why not get James Hong to play the Emperor?
I know. It's odd. It's odd, right? Anyway,
just a novel idea. Maybe let's get the celebrated, also older actor to perhaps play, the Emperor. That was also a big connection there. Let me guess. I know this. They didn't get Ming Na Wen in the movie. Which I think was an insult.
God, no! Oh, are you kidding me?
Like, God, no! Let's not make her the mother or anything. Like, no. Anyway, so let's okay. So the point being, with the Emperor, I love the Emperor.
She might have a cameo, Dragon. She might have a cameo.
I heard otherwise, but I'll take your word. I won't rule.
I know. I doubt it. All right. I'm just saying.
Remember back when the movie was announced, they talked that up. Like maybe it would happen. I assume, why wouldn't they make that happen? Because it'd be a great idea. Get her in there.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, so point being, Pat Morita is Emperor. I love that he conveys. He only has like a scene at the start of the movie, and then the scene here, and of course the follow-up. So he has like 3 scenes really. And in his scenes, he's so sparingly. He conveys such strength. He has this great line. As I completely forgot about this. Shan Yu's about to kill him because he refuses to bow, and the line that gets him to that point is, his life is being threatened. He wants, bow to me, old man. It says, the mountain won't bow to the howling wind. There's something to that effect, where basically calling him the howling wind. Like, that's all I'm hearing. You're not going to change me on this. It's awesome. All right, so very clever solution Mulan cooks up here with the climaxing. Great action within all this. I'm going to puts the Emperor on the ground, mixes him in with the whole crowd, and cuts the line. Dangerous in that, oh God, I'm stuck with Shan Yu now. But by the same token, Shan Yu, he has no hope of finding the Emperor and taking him hostage and taking the monarchy and taking the rulership and everything. And then Mulan saying, hey, I did this to you. Not that guy. I did this to you. I killed all you, puts the hair up at that.
Pretty goddamn badass, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently Monkey says Ming Na Wen does have a cameo.
Hey, there we go.
All right, fair enough. I take your word on it, Monkey.
All right. Broken clock's right twice a day. All right.
God.
Anyway.
All right.
We have a great rooftop fight. Defeated via the fireworks by Mushu. By the way, Mushu came back.
Defeated via fireworks is one of the most underrated Disney villain deaths, Dragon.
You know why that happened, don't you?
Censors, I assume?
No. It's even better than that.
Why?
It happens because they were afraid of being typecast as killing all the villains with a great fall, because that had been happening a lot lately.
That's great. So they literally had to come up with a creative death? Well, yes. Goddamn, it was creative. I mean,
because they didn't want to do yet another one where, like, oh god, we can't just have him fall again. It worked perfectly with Frollo. We can't do it again. He was emulated too. How do we top that? Well, we can't. We got to do something. A little more festive. So again, I love. What do you think about the Batman gay with Mushu?
God, I could take it or leave it.
To be fair, they had like one pop culture reference.
When Mushu goes into pop culture territory is when I least care about him. But like you said, we don't have that much of it.
I'm sure there's another reference I'm not thinking of. I think there's like one reference, and then I'll give him credit. That was a Batman reference. Like, come on, why not? Of course. Anyways, all that's fantastic, and you know what they say about rockets, Diggy.
What did they say about rockets?
Rockets explode! I wanted to get that. Okay. So after the day is saved, Emperor has a really memorable moment with Mulan.
Sure, of course. And this is this is just great in terms of
Zuko's wet dream. What happens here?
Absolutely. Just in terms of just bringing all the themes full circle in just a singular moment, the honor, the family, the tradition, the being your true self. I mean, it just all comes to a head there.
Absolutely. Again, the Emperor bowing is like they did research on this too. Like it is such a scene. This would again, there's a viability factor of like, would this happen? Mainly the hug that follows. The hug that follows would never ever happen. But it's like, come on, they built up a lot of credit, man. It's fine.
Right,
But we
right.
don't care. Like, would it ever really have happened? Who cares? She saved China and his life, and he
That's an
did the
ultimate we
bow.
don't care, Dragon. That's an
It
ultimate we
is.
don't care. It's
So
like
again, point
freaking
being,
we
it was
don't
like
care.
the Emperor bowing is a super progressive move for that time being the idea, and it was like the ultimate show of honor that restored honor there. And I love how really generous and giving the Emperor was. Like, here, take this to show your family. Again, if they doubt it, like show them this medallion. It's my medallion. They'll know it.
Sure, sure, sure.
And gives them a sword so they all know that you did this. And it's really cool. Makes her offers to make her a member of the council. I think she becomes a member of the council because like it was in the sea. It was terrible in the sequel. I can't remember.
Oh boy, yeah.
But of course, the top it all off. That's all fantastic. And then the Emperor of all people is calling Shang out and going after her, saying he does like this wonderful flowery metaphor about blooming yet again, and he translates Emperor and says like, you don't meet a girl like that every dynasty. When Pat Morita tells you that, you follow up, buddy boy.
All
That's great.
right.
Then we return home for our ending.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and take the lead on this, Dragon. I got to admit, I barely remember it. I'm sorry.
It's really quiet. It's a nice, quiet, understated ending, man. It's really
Is it just
sweet.
Mulan and her father just kind of talking?
I'll admit they flirt with ending it there, but it's that's the main part of the end. That's the main
Okay,
ending.
okay, because that's definitely the biggest thing I remember about
That's
the
the
ending
best
is
part of
just
the
the quiet scene with Mulan and her father. Kind of a warhorse type ending, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, there's kind of like a three-pronged, like, the three.
Oh God, you know how much I love the warhorse ending, Dragon.
I know. There's like a three-pronged sort of like we service all the things in the moment here, but naturally though. So,
Mhm.
Fazu again, Mulan returns home. She bestows the thing upon her father, who again he's waiting by the. They had that beautiful scene before the war cry came, where he's like talking about like she's like a late bloomer, literally with the cherry blossoms, I think, and literally we see the blossom that wouldn't blooming before him, which is a memory of his daughter. So then she comes in. And she goes to the moon gate. I found this out. There's the circular gates when you walk into a garden, so only people can enter one at a time, so they can observe the beauty around them in the garden, which is really cool. Anyway, so he throws the stuff to the ground when it's bestowed upon her very nervously, and he hugs his daughter and says, "Forget the gifts that the emperor bestowed. You're the greatest gift. The greatest gift I have is my daughter." And it's this beautiful hug. It's wonderfully animated. It's just a strong, simple gesture that communicates volumes. And then old Shangy boy comes in.
Oh
Shang
yeah,
Yu,
that's right.
Shang comes in, and
Is it
Shang.
is the last moment of the movie the whole grandmother punchline?
No. We end on
Okay, because I
Mushu has the
remember
last one.
that too. I remember that.
This is the second prong. Is Shang comes in, and the idea is
Okay.
that Shang, he's a really earnest guy, and again, he's really good at the
Yeah,
military
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
because the
sure.
lineage. But he's really, again, his weakness, again, about the
He's
flaws of
confused
the
about his
movie.
sexuality, but no one blames him for it.
But again, the idea is again he's not great with women being the idea. The
Yeah, yeah,
idea,
yeah.
no, seriously, the idea being like again he's really earnest and he's just like he has the most like you left your helmet back there. I thought I'd bring
Oh
it to you.
God, I forgot
Literally,
about
it's that he
that.
because remember after I don't know if you
I
remember this,
totally forgot about that. The fact
I
that
don't
that's
know if
his
you remember
excuse
this,
to go
but
back.
after he's saved, after the initial goodbye Milan before the Emperor stepped in, it's like he had a really lame thing. You fight good, and that was his last line to her. And then the Emperor said, "Hey, go after her, man. What's wrong with you?"
Right, right.
Because that's weak sauce, buddy boy. And then he goes after her with the helmet, which is still weak sauce, but again, gets him in the door, and that's when Grandma has like her line, like, "Sign me up for the next one." And he says like. I love this though. It's like it's very reasonable. Like staying for dinner. They're not getting married. They're not getting hitched yet. It's the sequel, which goes it's a little too much, but still, it's like, hey, stay for dinner. It's just really nice. It's like he's getting there. It's the beginnings. It's nice. And then Mushu, he gets to become a guardian. He gets his own perch again, and it all worked out. And Mulan and Mushu they share a little moment, and we have like a comic like Mushu as they're all partying and everything. That's the ending.
Oh right, yeah, I'm
They
not
wanted
that
to end on a
crazy.
happy note. It was a test audience thing, I'm
It's not a
sure.
happy note, it's a comedic note. There's a difference.
I mean, I'm sure he was happy about it though.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, the point, it's okay, but yeah, certainly. I kind and reflecting on things as we are doing right now, I'd like to think that the proper ending probably would have been Fazu. That would have been the perfect ending. But also, Shang's not bad either. But would have ended on that pun, though.
All right. Okay, so yeah, final thoughts, Dragon.
Talking about the legacy of Mulan, it's a remarkable film that works so well because it's so straightforward. You know, it's the enduring core is a girl trying to save her father. It hits the dramatic notes, the comedic notes, and the action hook. All these hooks are fantastic. It doesn't waste time. It's one of those films that you're proud. It's just so proud that Disney didn't burn out after the main Renaissance. After their peak with Lion King. This is like one of those films. It's like, it's so proud. Like, we're not like getting to the drain. People would argue like some of the later Renaissance films like Pocahontas had and stuff like that. It's like, it's nice that they had like these in the chamber. Like there was a strength that latter Renaissance period. I think Mulan carried that, and just how straightforward they could do a story without like being about a whole marketing campaign or a whole gimmick and everything we're all concerned about. That was just a movie that came out. There's a simplicity to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It told a story that wasn't conventional or done before. It broached a new culture. It changed changed the Disney status quo a little bit. In terms of the legacy and where we're at now with things, you can actually appropriately talk about the remake a smidge. We get movies like Brave and Moana, I would argue, because of this movie. We don't have that without this. Young women shaping their own destinies, what those movies are about. You don't have that without Mulan starting the trend. Society kind of shutting down the ambition. We have the Rick and Morty gag because of this. Make a man out of you is a whole national trend. For better or worse, this movie has stay power in regards to the 2020 movie. We're better for worse. It's coming back. It's still being talked about. I feel bad that we have to specify 98 and 2020, but
Well, honestly, Dragon, I feel it's coming back in the way that you and I are trying to make it come back, in the fact that like literally people are realizing how good this movie is in comparison.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, right? Because for so many years, people have always like kind of swept Mulan under the rug. Oh yeah, I like that movie.
It's like a B-tier Disney movie. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, like no. If people look back at this movie and compare, it's like, oh my god, what are we sleeping on, man? Look at this.
Absolutely.
So the film just works. It's rewatchable. It's fun. It means something to a lot of people, whether it be a group of animators in Florida, girls seeing it for the first time, or schlubs like us who appreciate when Disney gets it right, and they got it right.
All right, so yeah, legacy on my end. I like you said, Drake. It's just an incredibly economic film with some very bold social statements to make along the way, and I just think it hit really, really big with the right audience. And man, basically, Dragon, anyone in my age range or around my age range just loves the hell out of this movie. Like I said, the phenomenon of like, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. I mean, it's like a universal like language, So yeah, I mean, I just think it's great storytelling. It's expertly paced. It doesn't try to be too ambitious, but by the same token, its ambition is in its in its subtlety, and it's got a hell of an underrated Disney villain.
Oh yeah.
All right, Dragon, why don't you tell the good folks what's going on tomorrow?
All right, folks, if you liked us kind of reminiscing about Mulan, you're in luck, because we got a very special Disney debate going on tomorrow, Friday. It's Disney Debates Mulan edition, and not just that, it's something kind of really historic for us on Disney Debates.
Very historic.
We got female fighters, and basically as much femininity as we may have ever gotten in one room on a Disney debate.
I think that is. I think it's probably the most femininity we've ever gotten in one cast. Period. Dragon.
Yeah, possibly in the channel period. Yeah. So.
I mean, this is going to be monumental. We do not have a good track record for that, unfortunately.
Yes, and again, we're going to be focusing on basically the main round is going to be all Mulan centric. Going to be some surprises and then kind of the speed round for sure. But seriously, folks, come for it. It's going to be a big historic thing. It's going to be, we're kind of lucked out and like, oh my god, we can get female fighters in this. That's awesome. Let's do it, man. Yeah. Yeah. So that's tomorrow.
All right. So thanks for watching, folks, and remember, don't forget
to be. True to your heart, you must be true to your heart. That's when the heavens will part, and baby, shower you with my love. Open your eyes, your heart can tell you no lies. And when
Dishonor
you're
on
true
you,
to
dishonor on your whole family, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your singing.